Well, hello. I was going to say good evening, but it may be a different time when you're watching it. It's evening for me. The title that I wrote this morning is Confusion Abounds. Who can we trust? I didn't write the blurb till actually not very long ago, within the past hour. There are many people proclaiming remedy for living on a planet run by criminals who have defrauded and enslaved most of the population. Of course, the corporate United States leads the world in criminal militant activity, operating their felonious enterprise across the planet. Many honest people are victimized by the fraud unknowingly. Without awareness, they, in turn, victimize others. It's a vicious cycle. Thankfully, many are waking up, although the majority still sleep. I am encouraged by promises I see as divine intervention or ET help. Still, at this stage, I have to ask myself, who can I trust? I know there are many others like me who have good intentions and honest hearts. May truth prevail. Interestingly, just as I was getting ready to prepare the video recording, I received some emails or some notices from a new friend that I just approved on Facebook, who is offering me $50,000. I was chosen randomly, and I just need to give them my serial number or two numbers, and they're sequential numbers like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, that's how the numbers run. I don't know that that's the actual numbers. I made that up, but they're sequential and then repetitive. They're not like a random number would be. And there's two sets of numbers, both of which are sequential. You know, neither of them are random, which of course raises the red flags of suspicion in me. And as I said, confusion abounds. There are so many propagators of good news that seems really good, and I have bought into good news and been a propagator of good news myself, believing that something good is going to happen, and I still have elements of that belief within me, or I would not be continuing to make these videos. This is what I do. I try to do my best to tell the truth as I understand the truth. And when things that I think were true begin to show themselves as being suspect, I back off. And you've watched me. Those of you that have been looking at my videos for a period of time know that that's exactly what I do. I do not keep pushing something when it comes into question in my own being. And everything in the world now is in a state of confusion. Everything, as the cabal, the criminal operation of the United States of America and of the corporate world comes into focus for more and more people. It's a growing number. And there's no doubt about that. And as I listen to Cobra and others that are trying to present a positive shift and saying that there's going to be divine intervention, there's going to be ET help, or whatever you want, whatever label you want to put on it, there's going to be something that shifts everything to the positive instead of, as it has been, pretty much totally on the negative side. And so we have to develop some level of discernment. And my friend Steve and I talked about that when we had a little meeting earlier this morning, the latter part of the morning while he was getting his car fixed. We spent some time having a conversation. And, it's almost like he's trying to uplift the positive, and I'm still saying, but, and putting in all of the questions and all of the doubts and all of the confusion that I have to deal with as a human being who tries to be in integrity in a world that doesn't seem to have much integrity. And it creates a dilemma a tremendous dilemma for me, and I bet you it creates a dilemma for others as well, because the stories that we're being fed, the ideas that we're being fed, are so contradictory, because the liars keep trying to support the old system, the status quo, and that is the part of our world that has seemed to hold the marbles and seemed to hold the power, and of course controlled the monetary system, which is all fraud. The money system is total fraud, always has been total fraud. So ever since the Civil War, anyway, in the United States, it's been a fraudulent monetary system, and it operated in Europe prior to that, even at the time of the American Revolution. The Alexander Hamiltons and stuff like that were here as representatives of the British Crown, trying to enslave America before when we were just being born. Not even, not that a nation is a baby, but we were an infant nation trying to do the right thing with idealists that wanted to do the right thing, like Thomas Jefferson. But there were people, as I said, like Alexander Hamilton, that were trying to infiltrate and undermine the good. And they ultimately, in the Civil War, won the battle, and they took over the South, and they ran the judicial system in the South and turned it into no justice. It's just us, not justice, but just us. We are the victors, and we're going to dictate the rules. And it's been that way in the southern states after the Civil War, but it's been progressively getting tighter and tighter as they try to tighten their grip. And as more and more people wake up, they try even harder to tighten their grip. So it creates a lot of confusion, a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of doubt. And I don't understand. I mean, Steve is telling me that there are people that have faith. Well, a lot of the people that claim to have faith, to me, are in denial. They don't even acknowledge the world as we experience it. They're totally out in left field, living in a state of denial. Like that doesn't affect me because I'm not part of that. As if somehow they create a huge gulf and a huge separation between their actual humanity and whatever they picture their divinity being. And to me, if they're not made one, they're both meaningless. There is no spirituality apart from humanity, and there is no true humanity apart from spirituality. They have to go together. They're two parts of the same whole. And you can't have victory or meaningful life if you are only living with a partial revelation or whatever. So anyway, these are the things that I continue to wrestle with. And while I'm trying my best to get to where I'm seeing the positive potentials, and there are tremendously positive potentials, but they're only potentials until the divine intervention, till the ET involvement takes place and shifts. And it can't take place over scores of years or hundreds of years or anything. It'll never happen if that's how it is. It has to be fairly instantaneous, like at the most within days or a week or so. This change has to be where all of a sudden people are shifted, and we wake up, and all of a sudden our eyes are opened, our ears are opened, our hearts are opened, our minds are open, and we see a new reality that is in front of us and undeniable. And that's what I look for, because that's the only thing that I see that will end the confusion. That's the only thing that I see that is trustworthy enough to actually bring about the changes that I've prayed for and lived for my whole life. So anyway, I welcome, again, your comments. If you're going to argue with me, again, I'm going to remind you, I'm not going to enter into arguments with people. If you present a very contrary point of view, will probably let you present it. unless it's a personal attack, but I'm not going to dialogue about it because I'm not going to argue. It's not arguing. It's seeing and recognizing the truth. And the truth is what we actually are able to experience here and now in the present moment at the present time. Thank you for listening, and namaste.